Sleepers Podcast is back. It's Thursday, July 13th, fourth episode of the week. Shout out everybody who's been rocking with us on every single episode this week. Carter Elliott's here. Cart, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Got past hump day, Thursday, Friday Junior, as folks call it in some circles. Feeling good.
It's a big day for us. We have our World Putting League match today, 5 p.m. Eastern, live streamed on the Dimers Twitter account. You can listen to the two of us idiots commentate an hour's worth of mini golf in a head-to-head battle for the ages, genuinely between two of the best in the world. We are suiting up for this, correct?
Oh, yes, 100%.
It's going to be fun. I'm pretty excited for it.
We'll be suited up, and I got a little bit of research already done in my bag, and I'm kind of torn. Do you have a favorite in that?
I do. I am pretty much blindly following the Dimers write-up that one of my coworkers did. But the best thing about this, you can bet on this, genuinely. There's like 3 different books that will take legal bets on this match, one of them being DraftKings Sportsbook. And there's an article on best bets. I'm going to make a video on it later, but I'm pretty excited, Car. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I was checking out those articles, and there's definitely a couple steals, but that sent me into a wormhole of like actually going and like looking on the official website, these guys' Instagrams. And at first I was like, there might be some value on Hester. First picture you see on the website when they pull up his accolades, he's wearing a Green Bay Packers hat.
That's not great.
That's not great. And I don't know if I can back that, but the old man is special.
Yeah, he is. One of them, I forget the name. I still clearly need to do my research, obviously. But in one of the hype videos, one of them was like, "I'll play anybody, anywhere," and I was all in on that guy. Like, they take this shit seriously, man. I'm telling you, like, it's one of those niche sports where, like, if you're the best in the world, like, you do live and breathe that shit. And these two are genuinely like the two best in the world. They've been dominating this world.
So I love how they break down the courses too. And also I got some more information because I really thought they were actually going to like, Torrey Pines and just walking to the green and just picking a spot and just putting from there. No, these guys are going to the best of the best putt spots in the world, obstacles, windmills, all that.
Yeah, no, hole 4, one of these men has aced it, hole in one 6 times every time he's played this hole, and there's like plus money value on him to hole in one and win the hole. It's crazy. I also am a little nervous because we got to figure out what our like golf commentary vibes are. I don't think we can come in like full sleepers energy for a golf match. Like I think I got to be on some like Jim Nantz, like, hello friends and welcome to the match today, Carter. Like I don't know. We're gonna have to see. It's gonna be a minute by minute learning experience for us. But 5 p.m. Eastern on the Dimers Twitter account is where you can follow along if you want to see that. All right, let's start today's show. Well, why don't I tease the rest of the show quickly, Cart? We're going to talk some Ausar Thompson, finally, who looked incredible last night. We're going to talk about Kentucky's Globl Jam debut, first look at the Wildcats, and then we're going to do some Summer League surprises later in the show. But first, we got a bunch of comments on the YouTube channel. Shout out everybody jumping in the comments section. We'll begin every single show, every single day, by going through our comments and responding to them. We got 22 of them today, Card, so we'll fly through some of these. Travis starts off with some positivity. He said, sleepers know shit. The real ones know this. Appreciate you, Trav. You've been here since day one. We appreciate you always. Grant says, love the show. I'm kind of curious how sleepers came to be and how both of you became fans of your respective schools. Did Greg go to Michigan State? I thought I heard that. How much time do you have, Grant? Car, do you want to take that one for me?
Yeah, we're actually probably going to have to like release a video and like pin it on like sleepers profiles explaining how the fandom works in your case. I did not go to Michigan State, but I've always been a Michigan State fan, at least I think since probably like 6th grade. So I guess not always, but didn't have like parents that went to either school. Just always gravitated towards Michigan State athletics because they're the dogs, they're them guys. Woof woof. Man, Sleepers was created out of people doubting, hate, and spiting us. Kinda.
Kinda. I don't know that that's true, but I'm happy that that's the narrative.
In my head, that's how I feel myself from day-to-day basis. So
That's definitely how we wire ourselves now. I don't think that's how it began, but that's okay. I did go to Michigan State. I am a Michigan basketball fan. Beyond that, it's more complicated. I tried to shake all my Michigan fandoms. I was raised a Michigan fan, have very great memories with my dad watching Michigan sports. And in college, I was able to shake Michigan football, mostly because I just hate everyone that's been associated with that program for a number of years. With basketball, I could not shake it because it was John Beeline, and I just loved that man so much, and I loved his teams. So, long story short, Michigan basketball fan. I do like Michigan State. Like, I root for Michigan State in football when they play Michigan. I know that makes no sense. I'm a mutant. It is what it is. Hope that satisfies you, Grant. Neil sent a very long comment about Illinois basketball. Said, overall, I'd give the Illinois offseason a C, C+. They should be a better shooting and defensive team. I draw the line at shooting, though. I don't understand why everybody thinks Illinois is going to be a better shooting team, Cart. Are they?
Well, I think it's because one, they look at Quincy Guerrier's numbers before Oregon. And I mean,
He's been like a 33% guy his whole career. Like, he's not a knockout shooter.
but the guys they lost Epps, they lost Meyer. Who else am I missing?
Matthew Meyer is a better shooter than anyone they added.
Yeah, but they added multiple. Like, if you add multiple 32%
multiple guys are they ever gonna play together? They're fighting for one spot. I was told they brought Terrence Shannon and Coleman Hawkins back, and a guy who has never made a three in college is gonna play 30 minutes at point guard. And the team got better at shooting.
I'm also a believer that some of these guys, like, because their attempts may go down, they might shoot. It might look a little bit better, at least like in dumbass case.
Around this exact same core of Terrence Shannon, Coleman Hawkins, and nobody good at point guard, every Illinois player that left's percents went down last year. So it would seem to buck the trend around those exact same players if all these guys got better at shooting at Illinois when Damask comes from Southern Illinois to Illinois. I just don't see, how can you say Ty Rodgers is a 30-minute point guard and the team got better at shooting? Those two things do not go together. Like, you can claim one of them and I'll buy it. You cannot claim both. We have a point guard, it's Ty Rodgers, and we got better at shooting. No, I'm sorry, you didn't. Your boy Turney, J35, who did not love the political jab the other day, said Carter is still my dude. The Chop Man 247 line was elite. You have an innate ability to win people back. It's impressive.
I mean, look at me. That's what I do.
Michael Mann said, loved how yesterday you danced all around saying the word for one big thing, and today there was no messing around. Yes, we still haven't figured that part out, but we're trying. I'm glad you love the daily shows, Michael. Rough Nut, great name, said, LOL, the 200 columns call out had me crying. Nice job, Cart.
You. I mean, one day we'll have to have an actual discussion about Mr. Columns.
One day. Brett said, you guys referred to Max Christie as Lightning McQueen Chase Audish once. Thank you, Brett. We could not, I knew that was like somewhere in Sleepers history. I couldn't really remember it.
I forgot about that. Also, forewarning to Michigan State fans, let's watch ourselves with the Cormac takes and narratives.
More on that later, because he's been incredible.
I'm just saying, some of y'all were sending them dirty Pampers out the door, and now all of a sudden you want to welcome them back and tuck them into his Lightning McQueen bed.
Oh, you're still standing by, get his Pampers out the door. You're just not welcoming him back. That's crazy. I think you're on the wrong side of that, but
he's rolling meadows now.
Shout out to you. That's a great Carter Elliott historical line. Shank SP says, biggest jump college players tend to take is freshman to sophomore years. I believe Rodgers or Harris makes a noticeable jump. Yeah, I mean, yes. Again, I don't think either of us are down on Ty Rodgers or Sincere Harris. It's more the bigger picture. I don't get how you can claim Ty Rodgers and also the shooting thing, you know?
Yeah, and also I understand being positive in the situation, but also I feel like just a little bit of, I don't know, self-awareness that there's another side where this doesn't go well. Obviously, going through life and going through basketball or anything like that, having the thoughts that it's not going to go well probably isn't what's best, but it's not a sure thing. Like, it's not going to for sure happen, and Ty Rodgers is going to for sure be like this one guy. It's more of a question mark than if an actual point guard was brought in my eyes. And look, we already talked about it. I'm not doubting. I do think that Ty Rodgers could actually be a serviceable point guard, maybe even good. But let's not act like it's a for sure thing because he played on Team USA and averaged 4 assists. Like that's not good. That's not something that's just like, oh, stamped. He's gonna do it now.
Yeah. It was not a given that RJ Melendez made a jump from his freshman to sophomore year.
I'd also argue that junior to senior year is more of a jump than freshman to sophomore.
Ooh, I'm intrigued by that. One day we should have a larger conversation about that because I'm very intrigued by that. But by the way, love Ty Rodgers. Just don't love him at point guard. I don't think he should be your full-time point guard. You're making life harder on Ty Rodgers by forcing him to play point guard for 30 minutes. I would love him if he could just be a wing like he is and be a little bit of a point forward. He can't do that on Illinois. That's why I'm scared. ULAMOG said, where are the stops for next season's college hoops to go? Still working on that. TBD is our answer right now. Terrence James. Riv outside the top 3 is Crimical. His ranking is Ricks, Riv, Dublin, honorable mention PTs. I feel like we should have just deferred straight to TJ to answer that question yesterday.
Yeah, I've never been to the Riv like at night.
It's a fun spot.
The one time I went to the Riv at night was actually with you on our College Hoops to Go episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you and I have been to the Riv at night a couple times together.
That was the first. I think that was the first time for me though. Like I've been to Rama, but I never like. It was like Rama. Go back, take a look in the mirror, find yourself, maybe get a Jimmy John sub, and then make your way to Rick's or Harper's or Dublin.
Yeah, time was just a construct at Rama back in the day. Great times, though. You got to love it. Thanks, TJ. Good to see you in the comments. Josh says, Tucker Carlson throwing 70-yard swing routes was an elite line from Cart. What's the gym tune for today, Cart?
It was actually Gunna, bread and butter.
What about for today, though?
Honestly, it'd probably be some more Gunna. Probably go Back to the Moon or Peas Angels.
Okay. Cart got me on a bunch of UK rap in the last week and a half, by the way. So I'm a little disappointed you didn't drop some Burna Boy today as the gym tune, but that's what I've been listening to.
I don't really like working out to UK music.
Huh, interesting.
It just makes me like too happy. Like I need some adversity. Like when I'm lifting weights, I need to feel like I'm struggling.
Fair. Makes sense. Shank SP 1992 says challenge for Greg, name 21 better QBs in the NFL. I can't do that, and that would take up a lot of time. So, Shank, congratulations. You win that comment today. Shifty Eyes says, will season 3 of Unscripted return? Also TBD. What I will say is I think that will exist in some form, whether it is the same format that it has been or whether it is just Carter kind of taking the total lead and doing something he wants to do with Michigan State this year. In some form, yes, that show will exist. Is it going to be the two of us exactly how it's looked for 2 years? Not totally sure yet. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no, that's pretty fair. I also got a theory that, you know how like most podcasters are like, oh, I'm podcasting no matter what, or like Draymond's like, you gonna get this podcast? Like I'm thinking about changing it up. I'm only gonna podcast like when they win and things are going well.
You might get this podcast. That's a good.
You might get this podcast. I don't know. Did Boo Booey give us 30 last night at the Breslin?
I like that.
Come find out.
If that's how we're going to operate, I'm in on season 3 of Unscripted. Coy has a proposal to change one big thing to I got something to say. How do you feel about that proposal?
No, because I don't like leading it out with I got something to say. And I love Coy. I love the effort too, but
yeah, it feels too aggressive. Keep it coming, Coy. Keep giving us more potential options here. We'll stumble on one. Slothy One says, we're going on 3 straight seasons of getting rid of toxic personalities. That's in quotes because I said that yesterday. He said, are you talking about comments from the program players or fans? If fans, that's not really fair to hold against the team. Fans say some crazy shit. If referring to the team players, then he went in detail on everybody that's departed in the last 4 years. Slothy One, thank you, first of all, for the comment. Here is my official answer on this. I'm talking about not necessarily anything specific any one person has said. I'm not talking about what I've said, even though I've said a lot. I'm not talking about what the program has said, even though they've said a lot. I'm not talking about what the fans have said, even though they've said a lot. I'm talking about a general, I know it's general, a general narrative that has seemed to be accepted by all of those parties year after year after year that, oh, Adam Miller was selfish. He didn't belong here. Moves on. Honestly, probably true looking back on it. That probably applies to Adam Miller. Andre Curbelo. He's the face of our team at the beginning of the season. 2 months later, this guy's awful. We got to get him out. Very true. Look what's happening to Andre Curbelo right now. Not saying these things are not true. I'm just saying it's happened year after year after year at Illinois. Last year, pick your guy. You got 3 different guys you could pick here. People blame Sky Clark. I think that's fair. He left midseason. People blame Matthew Meyer. I think that's fair. He overdosed on caffeine in a championship run. These guys are all insane. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying it's very clearly a pattern that year after year after year, a really talented player loses his mind and everyone at Illinois just is ready to wipe their hands with him and bring in somebody new, assuming that it's not going to happen again. That's the part that is scary to me, is Ty Rodgers is now on podcast telling everyone this isn't going to happen again. The culture's back. We're good people. That seems like a pretty scary thing to do anyway. Like, Ty Rodgers has always been a great teammate. Why is he shitting on everybody on a podcast? So that's just is what it is. I'm not saying anybody said it. I'm not blaming them for saying it. I think those 3 guys were all horrible, or 5 guys, if you count the 3 from last year. And every single year somebody new is horrible. I would bet really good money at the end of this Illinois season, there's 1 to 2 new names everybody points their fingers at. Is that fair, Cart, or am I just losing my mind here?
Well, I think mostly pretty much a lot of stuff we actually say is fair, but it doesn't get addressed because the original tweet or the original statement is Waddell gives D grade. Waddell hates us. Waddell wants to antagonize us. No, that's not necessarily the case.
I will
There's
own
actually
this.
words behind it. There's stuff to listen to.
I will own this. The immaculate grid yesterday was a step too far. I should have done that, but it was funny. Like, every troll that I do is trying to be rooted in humor. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was funny. I put it out. It struck a nerve.
I thought it was funny how some people were like, "Oh, you're trying to get engagement. You're trying to troll us," and then like they responded again and filled out the grid.
Right. It was fun to fill out the grid. I filled out the grid. I was going to literally put a video of me filling out the grid, but I decided to give it some space. We're going to give Illinois some space, at least until next week, and see what happens. Zuko LOL says Dre Gibbs Lawhorn projection. You want to take that one quickly?
I've always been high on him. I think anyone who's listened to the past few episodes, I think he's kind of also, and to put a positive spin on that, I think he might be in a better situation than he was before, just because I feel like all this talk about Ty Rodgers playing point guard puts a little bit less pressure on him to perform at the point guard position, instead of kind of shoving him to the forefront and being like, okay, we got this freshman who we think we can give the reins to. So I think that takes a little bit of pressure off him. I still look at him as like a scoring guard, and that's not a slight to him. He's more of a scoring combo type guard, but I still like his projection and what he can bring to this team this season and in the future moving forward with Illinois.
That seemed a bit muted from you on DGL. You
Did it?
Yeah, I feel like any other time we've brought his name up, you've been effusive in your praise, and I feel like this one was a little more measured. Is there any particular reason for that, or no? Am I off on that?
No, there's no rhyme or reason okay. to that. It's just that's how I feel.
Okay. Yeah, I love his game. That's where I'll leave it at. I love the kid's game. I do. Like, I loved Sky Clark's game a year ago, and there was a whole press run of we don't have a point guard, or Coleman saying I can play some point. Like, we're going to have a lot of point guards. And then Sky Clark was like in our DMs being like, LOL, I'm the point guard. I do think that situation could happen a little bit.
Hey, can I do a little reach here to kind of that might hurt my labrum?
Sure.
There's a lot of similarities between Sky Clark's high school career and Dre Gibbs Lawhorn's high school career.
Yes.
Just letting that be known.
I agree, which is, again, I loved Sky Clark's game. And again, 10 minutes ago, I was just saying maybe there's some people Illinois might turn on if things go south. I just throwing that out there. Right now, Ty Rodgers being like, I'm the point guard. I bet you Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn doesn't love that. Is all I'm saying. I bet in his mind, Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn is like, I'm the point guard. Come on. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Conroy5087 said, instead of one big thing, how about a sure thing or in my humble opinion? Cart, your thoughts?
Kind of like in my humble opinion.
Well, you want to give that one a try today? Let's give in my humble opinion a try today.
Let's give it a test go.
Okay. Thank you, Conroy. I'm jotting that down in my notes right now. Deuces22 said, you have been riding Illinois long enough. It's getting ridiculous. Blah, blah, blah. We have 3-point guards. I pray one makes Greg bow down and say, I was wrong. Guess what? If that happens, I will gladly do that, Deuces. I feel like, oh man, now I'm just like doing couples therapy. I feel like Illinois fans thought I was just a pure Illinois slappy because their very first introduction to me was me ranting about how great Brad Underwood is and how much he owns me. Like, which again is rooted in honesty. I still do that. Like, but now they're like, I'm like, oh, Greg has changed. He's turned. No, I've always just been honest about all the shit. You just discovered me at a moment that was good for Illinois because you got the biggest up and down roller coaster of a program in the country. Like, sorry you don't like it when it goes on a downswing. We're going to keep it real. It's what we do. If Illinois is fantastic this year, one, I would love that. Two, I'll admit that, Deuces. I have no grudge against Illinois. Neil Stuckey 9896, said shows Jack Ryan and Reacher. I've heard Jack Ryan's good.
Isn't Jack Ryan with the guy from The Office?
Yeah, John Krasinski.
Oh, I don't know
aren't
how
you?
I feel about that.
Aren't you kind of anti-Office?
No, I love The Office and love Quiet Place too. All of them.
Then I feel like you might like Jack Ryan. For some reason, I thought I had a memory of you saying, is The Office that good at one point when we talked about shows?
That might be. Well, that's because I feel like that might be in my humble opinion, but The Office is great, but I feel like it takes away from like Parks and Rec. Like that's a fire show.
I agree with you there. I have made the argument that I think Parks at its peak is a funnier show than The Office. In my humble opinion. Shank SP says, no way fifth-year Tyson Walker is better than fifth-year Trent Frazier. And then Seymour Butts said, why not? So we'll let those two go at it, but I can see you're not happy with that comment.
That's just it. I don't understand. Like, there's being like a slap in a fan. What is so wrong? If Trent Frazier was going to be a better player than Tyson Walker in his fifth year, I would literally say that as a Michigan State fan. Like, it's called being rooted in reality. But what are we talking about here? Like, I feel like people are demeaning what Trent Frazier was for this program by holding him on this pedestal like he was Io or something like that. Like, I don't understand. He was really, really good for that team, and he was a really good player. I don't want to diminish that. But let's not act like everything that Trent does, Tyson Walker can't do and probably do better.
Yeah, I hold on. I'm actually going to pull up Tyson Walker's stats so I can do a side-by-side here quickly because I have a theory that I'm going to discover something that you might like when we compare this here. Okay, field goal percentage. Tyson Walker last year, 46%. Trent Frazier, fifth year, 39%. Three-point percentage. Tyson Walker, 42% last year. Trent Frazier, 33%. Where are we at here? Rebounds are essentially identical. Assists goes to Trent Frazier by 1.2 more assists per game. Steals goes to Trent Frazier, but it's almost identical. Trent Frazier had more turnovers a game than Tyson Walker, and Tyson Walker averaged 15 points. Trent Frazier averaged 11.5. Tyson Walker is a better player.
Both good players. Tyson Walker is better, and it's not up for discussion. I'm sorry, it isn't.
Yeah, good player. Not as good as Tyson Walker. And Tyson Walker has a year to improve still on what he did last year. AO-to-Tizzy, I think, said the only common denominator for us Illinois fans with all this toxicity talk is Underwood. With a blush emoji. Any thoughts there, Cart?
I mean, there's someone who's recruiting these kids here.
Somebody left a comment on one of our videos last week that said it was like a very well thought out comment that basically said like, this will all connect. It'll all click for the sleepers when you guys realize that Brad is just a really, really good used car salesman. And I'm like, that might be it. Like, I love Brad Underwood. Genuinely love him. Have met him a couple times. And some people called me out, said like, keep that same energy when you talk to Brad Underwood as you are on Twitter right now. Again, when I was like really praising Brad Underwood in person, I believed him when he said he was going to get stars in the portal. Brad lied to me and all of you. So next time I see him, I will keep that same energy. But yeah, love the guy. Love everything he does. He's a great marketer. I do think there's some used car salesman to him right now. Last comment, Cart. Seymour said One Piece anime is popping off right now. If you have time to watch the 1067 previous episodes. Are you an anime guy?
No.
Just leave it at that.
I don't watch anime.
Do you watch cartoons? Do you watch anything animated at all?
Not like just naturally, no. Like if I'm with my little cousins or something, like we'll watch Paw Patrol.
Okay. All right, good to know. Thank you, Seymour. Thank you, everybody in the comment section today. That was a very healthy, I feel like a pretty wholesome group of comments. Keep them coming. We'll answer them every single day on the show. You can leave them on our YouTube channel on the main episode every single day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, where you can listen to this podcast. Let's jump in, Cart. Asar Thompson for the Pistons was phenomenal last night. He's been good, I would say, every game that he's played. You and I were frustrated after the first Summer League game because he was playing alongside Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren and James Wiseman, and he was really uninvolved. I had a little conspiracy theory that Ivy was intentionally not giving him the ball because there were some very obvious times to give him the ball that he didn't get them. That would have been dunks in transition, and Ivy just didn't see him. Game 2 was better. Ivy definitely found Asar much more often. He looked more like a part of the regular offense. But game 3 is when we finally got to see, oh shit, Asar has the ball and he's the primary guy every single play. And Carter, he was everywhere. He was phenomenal. Defensive force, blocks, steals, just ripping the ball from Grady Dick. Offensively, he had no-look passes, full court outlets for and ones. He had high-flying dunks from off the dribble where all of a sudden he's at the rim half a second later. He was hitting jumpers. He was hitting off the dribble, creating step backs, a buzzer beater 3 with a hand in his face. This dude looked like a future NBA all-star, and I'm scared of the comparisons that are coming to mind for me. How are you feeling with Asar right now?
I mean, it's just like when you watch him, he just pops. Like you see him out there, and it was very refreshing, like you said, to see him in this role without, the guys like Ivy, Duren on the floor. And he stepped up to the moment. Like he wasn't scared about it at all. He was handling the ball. And I don't want to be like one of those, I don't know, I kind of sound like one of my old coaches when I say this. But one of the things I noticed about him, at least in last night's game, besides him making all these plays and stuff like that, is that in last night's game, he had about 6 turnovers. And, some of them were him trying to make plays, him trying to do things, maybe being a little bit loose with his handle, which is, commendable mistakes. I appreciate him going hard and things like that. But every time he would turn the ball over, he's right back on defense. Or if it's a live ball turnover, he's sprinting back and he's getting a steal. One of his last turnovers, he actually lost it out of bounds. Might have got fouled by Ron Harper Jr. He comes back the next play, literally jumps in the air, steals the ball on a post speed, just some freak athletic play, goes the length of the court, lays it up, gives our team the lead or ties the game. Like it's things like that. And then you send me, you see the post-game interview, like this kid's just wired differently. Like he's one of those wired differently guys. And if you want to bet, if the pre-draft notion for him was if he gets a jump shot, if he does these improvements, if I'm picking a player that has the mindset and seems like they're going to be a player that's going to improve, like I'm betting on Asar to do that. I'm betting on the Thompson twins to do that. Now our next step is to figure out how to get Amen to Detroit, because this twin saga ends in the twins teaming up. So we got to make sure it's in Detroit and not them teaming up in Houston.
Yeah, I just am in love with both of them. I think these two are going to dominate the NBA for like 2 decades if they stay healthy. Obviously, Amen got hurt his very first game and has missed the rest of Summer League, which stinks. But I mean, these two, you talked about the mental stuff. That's very important to note here. And sometimes that stuff like gets exaggerated, like for various reasons. Like that clip of Amen listing off every guy that's been drafted and knowing exactly what pick he was taken with in the last 15 years. That caught my attention. I'm like, oh shit, these dudes like really are fans of NBA lore. Like they pay attention to that. That's cool. That doesn't necessarily translate to being like a high IQ player, but it caught my eye of like these kids are smart and they love this game. But then you watch Asar play, dude. Like I swear he makes the right play 99% of the time. Like there hasn't really been a moment where he's tried to do something that I've been like, what is he doing? And even his turnovers, like when he has dribbled it off his foot or dribbled out of bounds, it's like it's a time and place that makes sense. Like he had the advantage or he had a one-on-one situation at the end of the shot clock where I'm like wanting him to attack like that. He just fumbled the play and he needs to tighten his handle up a little bit. Mentally, he's there. Like he's ahead. I think of any player I've seen in summer league ever. Like
his feel for the game is impressive. Like,
well, it's like
it's funny because like you said, everybody says like, oh, Amon's the point guard. Amon's got feel and vision, but Asar's out like that spinning pass to Sasser who smoked that three was one of the most impressive non-assists I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, anytime they use him as a primary like ball handler, like he either blows by his guy for a score or he blows by enough to get an advantage that he draws help side and kicks to a wide open guy. That happened every single time he touched the ball. When he touches the ball in transition,
gets the rebound, one or two dribbles, looks up, like hits the guy. Like
when he touches the ball in transition, he just like like he'll give the ball up to get it right back. Like he's thinking so far ahead of everybody else. And I feel like when he was trying to do that with Ivy had no idea how to operate with him. When he did it with Sasser's like, oh, I just throw the shit back up. He grabs like that. We haven't even talked about the oop that he ends up with a reverse on. Like, you know how easy he made that look? You know how difficult that play is? Like, he didn't need to reverse it at all, but he like predetermined in his head he was going to reverse it and made it look like it was a layup. Like
you want to know the best part? You want to know the best part about that is we've been talking about how we love Asar this whole time, and we've yet to mention that he's like a freak athlete too, doing stuff like that. Like it's the other things on top of the freak athlete. We got Detroit. We got something.
So you know I can't watch a player I love without some sort of conspiracy theory. I want to throw this out there. You've heard this from me in text already. I think Asar is the better twin. And NBA Twitter, NBA scouts, everybody fucked this up. And here's why. I think like whenever I asked people, because I asked like, you know, our boy Nima, not to throw Nima under the bus, but like after seeing Asar for one game, I texted Nima in a group chat, was just like, hey, why was the consensus Amen? Like these dudes look pretty identical to me. Like what was the reason? He was like, mostly just Amen's a freakier athlete and a point guard. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, Asar is not lacking on freak athlete. So if Amen's ahead of him, great, congratulations. But like, there will not ever be a moment where Asar is not athletic enough for anything. It just won't happen. Two, if Amen's a point guard or he played point guard, that's cool. I'll take the guy who averaged as many assists as the point guard while not playing point guard. Like, that's more impressive to me than the guy was the point guard and averages exactly what his brother did playing small. Like, I am so impressed with Asar in every way. There is not anything I've seen other than, I guess, the jumper. But, dude, I like the jumpers he hit off the dribble with a hand in his face last night. Like, you're telling me that guy's not going to shoot in 2 years? Like, he just might need some reps, some practice to be like a catch and shoot guy. But it's not like he cannot create and make shots right now. Like, he is not a Rajon Rondo non-shooter. He can make shots. He already is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I because I'm a Detroit Pistons fan, I always go to a very dark, probably negative place after this. But in my head last night, I was thinking like, does Asar need to be our point guard? Like,
yeah.
How do we do this?
How does it fit with Ivy and Cade is the question. And it's a fair one because one, Cade needs to stay on the floor, and two, when Cade does stay on the floor, he's extremely ball dominant because that's how you use him best. And he's a half court guy. I've talked to you about that. Like, can he play in transition? Yes, but Cade is just slower. He's methodical. He picks you apart in the half court. Asar's not. I think Asar can do that, but like, we want Asar flying, and Jaden Ivey coincidentally is also best utilized in transition like that. So I don't know. It's three guys that I think all think they need the ball. I will say I liked Asar. You could tell there was a different level of like vocal confidence from him when he wasn't with Ivy. I think when he was with Ivy, like Ivy made some boneheaded plays multiple times, and you could tell Asar was frustrated, but he just like put his head down and kept playing. When Jared Rhoden like did not make an extra pass, Asar was on his ass. And that bodes really well for me that like you heard him in the post game. He said like they're like, what's the number one thing you need to do long term for this franchise? And he was like, lead vocally, lead with my actions. I love that answer so much, but I believe him when he says that. Like, I believe that this dude is just a guy who reads the game at 100% level, always makes the right play, is super unselfish, and is going to be really frustrated when other guys don't. And like, I think it's only a matter of time long term that if he's playing next to a guy who often makes the wrong decisions in Jaden Ivey, for as gifted as he is, like Asar's going to eat that up at some point. So I guess to answer your thing, like if there is one guy long term, I think falls out, it's Ivy. But I also don't feel confident Cade can stay on the floor, and I'd rather have Asar have the ball in his hands than the other two. Straight up.
Yeah, I mean,
man, I love him.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm fine being in this situation. To put a bow on this, I think we got to steal at 5. Like I think that's a given. Which is good after the distraughtness that we had to go through. I don't even know if that's a word, after we got the 5th pick. And I feel like the next step, honestly, is to figure out between me and you, which one of us is Amen and which one of us is Asar.
Yeah, there's multiple ways I could answer that. I had two in my head.
We'll circle back to that like All-Star break. We'll circle back to that like All-Star break.
Last thing I want to say, I think Ausar Thompson is a taller Dwayne Wade.
Woo.
Record it, clip it, do whatever you want with that. I don't care. I don't care if that comes back to bite me. I'm convinced off of 3 games of this guy in Summer League. I think he's I was trying to think of any player I've ever watched that is this athletic, that is this smooth in everything he does. And also
6'7" LeBron.
Well, that's crazy. You just can't go there. But like he floats around the court like Wade did. He's a defensive genius like Wade was. Those two guys, every single game, we're going to get you like 7 steals and blocks combined just because they're freaks mentally and physically. And then offensively, like Wade needed to develop a jumper a little bit. He was always a great playmaker. Like he didn't come into the league as a point guard, but you knew you could get 5 assists from him because he's that good. Like I really think, I looked at Wade's rookie year numbers. He was like 16, 5, and 4. I think that's Asar this year. And I think long term, if we want him to, I think he's like a 22, 8, and 7 guy every single night. I really do. I think he's Dwayne Wade.
Oh, I'm buying it. You see, I'm not denying it.
All right, I can't wait. Wow, it feels good to have something we love in the Detroit uniform.
It feels really good.
Hey, it's Greg here, interrupting whatever nonsense Cart and I are talking about to ask you if you knew that we do this 5 days a week now. Monday through Friday, you can find the full video episodes of every episode of the Sleepers podcast on our YouTube channel. You can also listen to them wherever podcasts can be listened to. Please like and subscribe, though, because we're kind of trying to make this a more real thing, and we don't really make any money off of this right now, which is not ideal. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this, and let's get you back to the show. I love it. Okay, let's go college. Kentucky basketball. They played Germany in Globl Jam. I have the numbers on my laptop right here. Look at me being an unprepared host. Kentucky, 81-73 win over Germany. A lot of takeaways you could have here. A lot of guys were good. The starting point for me, Cal ran this like it was a regular season game or like even an NCAA tournament game. Like he did not just give guys tick to get tick. He played 8 guys, 7 really got real minutes, and then an 8th got 10 minutes. And a lot of guys were good. A couple guys were not as good as you might have liked to see. But the number one thing, man, there's a lot of talent on this Kentucky roster, as there always is. What was your biggest takeaway from Kentucky? And did you watch any of this game, or did you just have to go back after and find film of it?
Yeah, so I didn't want to have to. You had to like buy like a VPN to like actually stream this game,
It
and
was on
not even
TV.
my
It
website.
was on TV. It was on TV.
What? You have like Spectrum. You have like every channel available to man. I don't.
You got the CBS app. You can stream it on CBS.
Was it on CBS?
CBS Sports Network, baby.
Oh, damn. Okay. I didn't even know that. But I did shout out to, once again, Matthew Love's B-ball season is back. He had the full, like, basically the full half split into two. So I was able to watch that. First, I'll go positive takeaways from it. Don't want to mispronounce his name. I think it's Thiero. That dude's a bulldog. That dude's a dog in every sense of the form. He seems like a guy who's just going to do everything that Cal wants him to do. I know he was kind of an afterthought in last year's class. Basically was almost somewhat of a red shirt because he didn't really play that much, but he seemed to really gotten a lot better and kind of taken like maybe the somewhat of a leadership role on this younger team. Trey Mitchell may be one of the biggest pickups for them because they needed every bit of his points and skill sets on this team. And DJ Wagner, the guards, they're going to be fun. Like there's going to be games where those guys are going off and getting their points and going crazy. And then lastly, Reed Shepherd's going to be like that utility guy on this team that just like does everything correctly and everyone falls in love with.
All the white tropes.
The Caucasian Kentucky player that just is gritty and does everything that's needed. Maybe not showing on the stat sheet, but it did show in last game. Didn't make one shot, had 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and was just all over the place. Negatives though. This team's not going to be able to rebound with anybody with the roster they have right now. Both of their 7-footers are out. They're extremely undersized. The Arrow led them in rebounds, and he's like 6'5". Like he's actually might be like 6'7", sorry. But they're very undersized. Trey Mitchell is the tallest player, but he's not really the best rebounder or that great of a rebounder. So they're going to need guys like Justin Edwards, who had 9 rebounds, Thiero, and all those other guys to chip in. But this team's going to be very undersized. I don't know how they're necessarily going to look in the half court. I feel like they're going to look very good in full court, getting out and running with the athletes and Wagner and Dillingham in them. But I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about this Kentucky team. They're in a lot better place than they were, obviously, with Reeves back in the fold and Trey Mitchell. They were much, much needed. But I'm not willing to, get on the Kentucky hype train at this point.
Okay.
But they're in a lot better spot than they were.
That's not the direction I thought you were going when you kind of went guy by guy through this. I expected to be out on this Kentucky team. I'll say that going into this. I know like Mitchell and Reeves were huge additions, but even after getting Reeves back and adding Mitchell, I'll be honest, I didn't think much of Mitchell at all. I thought Reeves was a huge get again. I still didn't expect a ton. I just thought there wouldn't be much there. I don't love this Kentucky freshman class as much as normal. I just think this freshman class in general across the board is pretty damn weak in college basketball. So it's not the year you want to be relying on a bunch of freshmen is the point. I was impressed with the eye test of all those guys. I watched this game, most of it live, and then I went back and watched the end of it because I knew we were going to talk about it. But I had it on in the living room yesterday. I love Rob Dillingham. I just want to say that he didn't have like the most efficient game or anything, but like, man, he pops off just watching, like with how shifty he is, with how athletically gifted he is. Like I think that dude's a bucket, and I think he's going to be one of the funnest players in the country to watch.
I love that. I love that in Dillingham's head. There's like Cal like on the sideline, like probably yelling out sets, and the only thing that's going on in Dillingham's head is do him.
Yeah.
Do him. Just like, hey, cook him.
It's just one of my favorite guys to watch already. You can tell. And this happened last summer when like I flipped on Baylor in Globl Jam, and I'm like, oh, I fell in love with Keontae George. Like that's what's happening with me and Rob Dillingham already right now. I wish he was in a slightly larger role because I'd like to see that, but I get why he's not. You have a lot of really good guards in this team, including DJ Wagner, who was better than I expected. Kind of get Dennis Smith Jr. vibes from him. I wanted to run that by you. Like, I think he's a bouncy PG that stuffs the stat sheet, but I don't think he's like an NBA all-star ever. I think he's just like a one and done college guard that we forget about in 10 years. What do you think of that?
I honestly, I'll be 100% honest with you. I hate that comp.
Why? Because Smith is just way bouncier.
I think that Smith was just an absolute freak athlete. I don't think Smith ever had a bag. I think Wagner has like an actual like bag. Like when he
Okay.
gets it going and when he's like in his bag, he can score that thing. I don't think that Dennis Smith had that.
Okay. I thought he kind of did in college and more so just like the open court speed stuff. I know DJ Wagner's not just going to like jump over everybody the way Dennis did, but I don't know. That was the first one that came to mind. I liked what I saw in general from Wagner, though. Like, I think he'll be very good in a way that I wasn't super confident he would be in 1 year before seeing him live. Trey Mitchell was awesome. I think the most important takeaway is Antonio Reeves is going to be a dude. Like, I think Antonio Reeves is going to be a first team All-American this year. I don't know.
Whoa.
I don't know what that equates to for Kentucky, but like I think Antonio Reeves scores 25 points a game. He might lead the country in
Oh
scoring.
my God, Greg.
I'm serious. I think he might lead the country in
25.
scoring. I think he might lead the country in scoring.
That's crazy.
He might lead the country in score. He's going to play 35 minutes a game and take 20 shots a game.
DJ Wagner and Dillingham won't let that happen.
I think they will. Like I think they're only playing 6-7 guys anyway. Like everybody's going to get their shots, but Reeves is going to shoot the ball 20 times a game and make a lot of them. Like I like his game. I think he's going to thrive.
Yeah. No, I like it a lot. I feel like you're going just a bit too far. One quick Coach Cal quote that I want to talk about is when they asked him about Dillingham and like how he plays and obviously his style of kind of just like just for lack of better terms, just being a gun, just being a guy who's like go do him, like go cook him. He said, I want to give the green light to Rob, but he can't take bad shots. That's an all-timer quote because does Cal not understand that when you give someone the green light, that comes with bad shots? That's part of giving someone the green light is that they can take bad shots.
I don't think so. I don't read that quote that way. I think you would read that quote that way. Like if a coach gave you the green light,
you're hooping in a men's league, or let's go back to when you're playing.
I don't take bad shots.
If I'm playing and my coach gives me the green light, my first shot is going to be so insanely out of control bad because I got to test the waters to see if he really means it.
Yeah, I don't take bad shots. Like as a guy who coached a bunch of high school basketball, like I feel like I tried to make that exact point to my best players time and time again. Like you do have the green light. I trust you. I'm not going to yank you when you take a bad shot, but take good shots. Like go get good ones. Don't settle. That's the number one thing you try to teach your best players.
Take this how you want, but you look like you take good shots.
Of course I do. God damn it. That's so accurate, but it's true. I do take good shots, man.
When I see you, I'm like, good shot selection.
All right. When I see you, I think, damn, that dude, I'll bite my tongue. I have a lot of things. A lot of things to say. Listen,
that's for the Deion Waiters. That was for the Deion Waiters comment a couple days ago. That's still eating fair. At me, no pun intended.
Listen, you're not doing yourself any credit when you're putting men's league clips up of you fouling a dude where you're 10 inches off the ground and then pouting in the lobby for 20 seconds. Like, I don't know what you expect.
That's crazy. That's crazy that everyone's so concerned about my vertical. What are we just going out and worried about verts nowadays?
I just think people expect you as a center to, be an athlete a little more. I don't know.
Did you just call me a non-athlete?
I'm just saying off the tape that I saw, I think a lot of people that don't know you would watch or expect without watching you to be an athlete, knowing you're like a 6'6" big wing, 2-guard. I don't know. Like I said the other day. I'm sorry, but you just said I look like I take good shots. Okay.
Yes,
I feel like
I mean, I earned it. That non-athlete thing hurt me.
All right. We've made it 4 days this week without getting too divisive. So we'll see where it goes. Last thing, Justin Edwards was probably the most underwhelming element of all of this. I kind of think it was just a bad game. Like I don't think there was anything long-term concerning that I saw from Justin. I will say, I don't know what my expectations were for Justin Edwards. Like I said, I think this freshman class in general is down. So I didn't come into this being like, oh, Kentucky has some freshman killers this year. I will say just from watching the full game, even though the shots didn't go in, that's not part of this. I don't think Justin Edwards is like a guy. Like, I don't think he's going to end up a lottery pick.
I'll put it I'll put it in these terms because this is how I saw it. You know how Justin Edwards is like I think he ended up being like a top 5 player in this class, correct? On most recruiting services.
Somewhere up there. I don't know this specific.
Somewhere up there. In a year with I think with a stronger high school class, and like Justin Edwards is in like, and this is, I don't want this to be taken badly because I actually do like some things I saw from Justin Edwards. But if Justin Edwards is in like the 30 range and he's like the 4th guy in the class and he's with like a really good point guard and he's around guys that do the right thing, I think he's a guy that can go around and make the right plays. Like if he's the 4th guy in the class, I don't think if he's like the prize guy, it looks good, if that kind of makes sense.
It does make sense. I think part of why I think Antonio Reeves could score 25 points a game this year is I don't think Justin Edwards is going to do much more than like 9, 10 a game. Yeah, just is what it is. But all in all, can we like take away here? Where is Kentucky on your board? Like nationally, I would put them in like the 10 to 15 range based on what I saw.
Yeah, I'd go like between 17, 18, and 25.
Okay. Not 16 though, just 17 or 18.
No, I need him at 17. And there's also going to be a point this year where me and you just absolutely place numerous amounts of bets or some small sprinkle on Kentucky to win it all because we fall in love with their backcourt.
I am going to bet Rob Dillingham's points totals every single game. I can promise you that. I absolutely love the kid. Let's move on to Summer League surprises. I asked you to bring a player that has positively and negatively surprised you, one each. We're going to both give answers to this question. You go first. Who's a player that has surprised you? You can start. If you want to start happy, you can. If you want to start sad, you can. Who has surprised you in Summer League?
This is going to surprise you that I said this answer, but because I was watching the Hawks a lot, Muhammad Guy, I believe his name, or Muhammad Gay. I'm sorry. My apologies. I think he was like pick 39, but actually got signed to like a 4-year contract. 6'11", and every time I see him play, like he's shooting threes, he's at the rim, he's making the right plays, athletic, wingspan, like all the physical tools. And I actually want to, I don't think you knew this was coming, but shout out to Sean Paul, because that's how I found out about this dude at Washington State. He tweeted about him a long time ago. And luckily for me and you, we're always trying to chase bets at a late point of night, and that leaves a lot of Pac-12 basketball on. So I ended up watching a lot of this guy in the Pac-12, and I just think like he has the physical tools to actually turn into something and be a really good player. So he surprised me. Every time I watch the Hawks, he pops off the TV screen. Negatively.
Wait, before you go to negative, just one quick follow-up there. Are you a big gay guy?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. Continue.
Everybody love everybody, man. Next one, disappointing for me. Marcus Sasser, man. And yes, I know you're gonna miss shots. I know it's summer league. I know you're not supposed to just be a flamethrower. Everything happened. I'm genuinely disappointed that Marcus Sasser doesn't look like a heady player. Like just way too many bonehead plays for a guy who I consider to be a smart basketball player and was a smart basketball player at Houston. Just, I'm not really sure what it is. Call it nerves, call it whatever, but just a lot of too many, like, what is Marcus Sasser doing questions coming from me. And I didn't expect to see that. And you know my love for Marcus Sasser, the player. So it hurts me to say this. Maybe I held him in too high of a regard, but just way too many mental errors for my liking.
Yeah.
On top of the struggles on the court, like actually like shooting and things like that.
So I caveat here, I thought he was pretty good game 3. I didn't like what I really saw in game 1 or game 2 much. I thought he was pretty good, even though shots weren't really going in game 3. I feel like I contributed to this, but I appreciate you addressing it. I texted you at the end of game 3, near the end of game 3, and said, is Marcus Sasser dumb? And I feel like that's over summarizing it, but like every time I watch Houston, I never came away with like, oh, he makes a lot of errors. And I feel like he was really making some boneheaded mistakes on the offensive end that he just didn't make in college. And I've been trying to figure out what that is. Like, is it adjusting to bigger players, faster, better athletes, etc.? Is it just he's trying to be more aggressive in summer league to show what he's got to make a roster? I don't know. But it just felt like, whether it's forcing or whether it's just like making the wrong read, I felt like he was really struggling in that regard in summer league compared to in college. to put it blankly. But I don't know. I'm not overly scared about that long term. Do you think Sasser's going to be like a rotation guy for the Pistons, or are you kind of iffy on that now?
I'm iffy on it because I thought it was gonna be like a Sasser, bring him into the fold, kick Killian to the Eiffel Tower. But it seems that with the other signings, like Monte Morris is gonna be in the fold. I don't really know where Sasser's minutes are gonna come from.
I still think I do think you're right. I think Killian is on his first plane ticket to wherever he can get a crepe at. I don't know. But Sasser, to me, I think Sasser is probably the fifth guard on this team. I'm counting Asar as a guard. He better be a guard. If we stick Asar in the corner like he's a power forward, I would be really sad about it. Okay. You want my two? I'm gonna go negative just because I'm a negative person. Kobe Buffkin, it's bumming me out, man. I think that he is in one of his little ruts that Kobe has had frequently in the time that I've watched him. Like, he's been a very streaky guy. Now, the whole second half of the season at Michigan, he was impeccable, and he didn't have a cold shooting game really ever, other than the Big Ten tournament game that we were at in person. But beyond that, like, for 2 months, he was like a 50, 40, 90 guy. The problem is the 2 months before that, he couldn't hit a three, and his percentage is tanked because of that. In Summer League right now, Kobe Buffkin is 28% from the floor, 19% from three on 7 attempts per game. Like, and you can watch him. It's not that he looks like he's out of place. Like, everything else looks okay. He looks like an NBA guy. He just can't make a shot, and it's affecting how he's wired mentally, because when he can't make a shot, then he starts trying to impact the game in other ways, force it off the dribble. The Hawks are running him at point guard a lot, which is not the best position for him. Like, I get they want to have the ball in his hands in Summer League and see what they got, but like, he would be way, way, way better if he didn't have to bring the ball up court against the Sacramento Kings pressing with 3 guys who aren't on an NBA roster. So, like, I just don't know. I feel bad for him because I like what I'm seeing from everything else, but he can't make a shot right now. And if he can't make a shot, I think it could really hurt him in the long term. We'll see what happens. And then my positive guy, can't believe I'm saying this, Amani Bates. Amani Bates has not been great. I'm not going to say he's been great, but I'm shocked, Carter. I'm absolutely shocked that Amani Bates leads the Cavs Summer League team in minutes, and they're 3-0 in Summer League. That's insanity to me. And I get it, Summer League, who cares? Some teams don't mean it. If you would have told me Amani Bates was who the Cavs built their Summer League roster around, I would have bet against them every single game, and I would be down a bunch of money right now because I'd keep doubling and tripling down. But he's been good, dude. He's shooting 39% from 3 on 8 attempts per game right now. He's limiting turnovers. Like,
And that's with like an off shooting first game too. Like, if you just take like the last couple, it's probably even higher than that.
yeah. And I don't know. I feel like the concern was like, if you build a team around Amani, you're screwed. No NBA team is going to build around him like this. But like right now in Summer League, they're winning with him doing the Amani things. He hasn't changed his game. He's just playing his game well. And historically, you and I have been Amani guys. Like, I was advocating Amani to Ann Arbor last offseason. You were advocating that Michigan State would still take Amani if they could. Like, I'm glad we held our Amani stock despite all of this, because I do think there might end up being a role for this guy, and it's kind of weird to see. I don't want to say it makes me happy because I hated everything about Bates' fundamentals, but I guess it's good to see. Like, I like this better than him flaming out.
Yeah, it's good to see for me because I at a certain point, at least the human in me just like feels bad that like this kid's like going through all this, and some of the stuff that happened to him was of his own fault, but like also a lot of what happened to him was not his fault, to be honest. So
Yeah,
it's good to see, and I actually think he's in a pretty good situation in Cleveland of like what they need from him. To circle back to my Rob Dillingham mindset, do him. Anytime Amani gets in the game, all he's thinking is do him, and that's all. And that's all that the coaching staff is probably telling him to do. Like, he can just come off the bench, get some J's up, get some shots up. They go in, they don't, and then come on out, and we'll be okay. So it's good to see.
So in summary,
it's good to see that former Michigan State Spartan Amani Bates is doing well.
Today's episode summarized, we found out that Carter is a big gay guy who is constantly thinking, do him. That's what we learned about Carter Elliott today. Impressive stuff. Cart, let's move on to our final chapter here. In my humble opinion, you can go first today, my friend.
That shot selection jab really got at you, didn't it?
Go ahead. What's your humble opinion today?
You're lashing out, man. Okay. In my humble opinion, I would like to say, and once again, I'm gonna come with a sports one day. I really am. I promise you, I am.
I kind of like
but
that
I didn't
you
plan
don't.
on saying.
I want you to keep that trope up. Like now, I want you to never bring a sports one, but every day say I'm gonna come with a sports one.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, about a month ago, my life changed forever when I found out that clothes at Costco slap. Okay. I didn't know this before. Puma sweats slap. Also, they got cat gear, like like the construction gear. These slap. And my nickname is Big Cat. So it's literally like I have my own clothing line and I got a line of gear that just says cat on it. And everything is cheap and everything is fire. But I never really dabbled in that Costco clothing area. I just go in there and get my clothes, or sorry, not my clothes, my food, maybe some, I don't know, some snacks or something like that. I did not know that Costco had this whole, like, basically clothing bag on them, even outside of Kirkland brand, which is crazy. But Costco clothes, very fire.
I mean, you do dress like a man who thinks Costco clothes slap. That was a lash out. You're right. That last one was too far. That was a lash out. I've never been to Costco. I can't speak on this. Not a Costco guy. Everybody seems to like it though.
Have you ever even grocery shopped in your life?
Yeah, although I hate it. But yes.
Yeah, you seem like that type.
Really? Is that a shot too? What does that mean?
Yeah. Like you're the type to go with a list of groceries and then come back with Jell-O, and no one in the household likes Jell-O.
I don't think that's true at all. I get very impatient. Like if I go to the grocery store and it's busy, I'm a nightmare to deal with. I just can't. Like I can't deal with like Grandma Judy taking 45 seconds to open the freezer and find the right bag of peas. It drives me nuts. And there's no cart etiquette. I'm a massive cart etiquette guy. Like if there were like lanes and people knew how to operate their carts in a grocery store, then maybe, but like it's a free for all. Nobody has a clue how to, it drives me nuts. So in light of this over the years, I've become like like twice, maybe 3 times a week, swing by like a Walgreens and just grab the small stuff I need so I can avoid going to the grocery store for a big haul.
That's so inefficient.
It makes me happier. I never leave frustrated. It takes 5 minutes.
You should dabble in grocery pickup.
I have done that as well. Big shipped household right now. Although Target pickup is really coming for our spot there.
Yeah, Target pickup's fire.
Target pickup is really, and there's shout out to the very kind man who seems to always be working when we order a Target pickup and brings them out. And he tells you have a blessed day on the way out. And I do. I take that to heart. I have a blessed day after he tells me that.
Blessed be the fruit.
My humble opinion, Cart, the ESPYs was last night. I didn't watch, but I saw some highlights. Some people were loving Pat McAfee's monologue. Some people did not like it. I thought it was fine from what I saw. In my humble opinion, though, Cart, Zach Edey should have won Men's College Player of the Year. That was an award. Caleb Williams won it. You know how I feel about Caleb Williams we used to do a betting show where you would bet on Caleb Williams every week and I would fade you and you typically won, but when you didn't win, you lost in dramatic fashion. 2 things here. They had this award. I forget who the other nominees were, but it was Caleb Williams and Zach Edey and like 2 other people. And they all went to the ESPYs assuming they were going to like get the award on television and on stage. They never gave them the award in the show. So like Zach Edey tweeted after the show was like, never been nominated for an award that doesn't exist before. And then you find out after the show, Caleb Williams won. They just never announced it. So Zach Edey, for the record, I stand with you. You probably won't notice that I stand with you because you're 8,000 feet tall, but I stand with you. That was your award. You should have been honored on television. They should have given you a whole segment. You're incredible. I'm happy you're back for the Big Ten, and I'm happy that you're the only thing that stands in the way of Tom Izzo winning a Big Ten championship. And for that reason, you're very important to me in the next 12 months.
The Purdue social media team has a very, very big opportunity here to make one of those like, congrats on being number one in the country type vibe, but like congrats to our real player of the year, our real college male athlete of the year in Zach Edey. They have a chance.
And we know the Purdue social media team loves to give fake awards out. So we'll see. Good luck, Purdue. Good luck, Zach Edey, this year. Cart, great episode today. Once again, having fun with this. We'll be back tomorrow for the final episode of the week, Friday's episode. It's Riley Friday. I'm very excited for Riley Friday. We'll save most of the info on that tomorrow, but Riley Davis from Heat Check joins us, and he just takes over the show. We have no idea what's coming. He has agreed to this. So it's Riley's show, Riley Friday. Can't wait. Any final words from Cart today?
You look like a team GPA raiser.
I literally knew I should not have thrown it to you because I literally knew you're going to just fire something at me. Appreciate that. How am I supposed to live with that now today? That hurts.